Imagine how scary and exciting it would be to be in the water, only a thin layer away from a wild, unpredictable shark. These stories take you on a fantastic adventure deep into the sea, where people come dangerously close to the ocean's most powerful hunters. Each story is a thrilling example of how people can survive these scary moments, showing how powerful and unexpected sharks can be in their world. Get ready to hear about regular people who ended up in incredible, risky situations with one of the sea's most amazing animals. In the serene waters surrounding the Neptune Islands, Australia, renowned for its rich marine life and breathtaking beauty, Lydia Bennett, a 28-year-old environmental scientist and avid swimmer, embarked on her most challenging adventure yet. It was the summer of 2021, a year that brought Lydia joy and hardship. After recovering from a knee injury, she had set her sights on competing in an open-water swimming race, pushing her limits in the vast, unpredictable ocean. Lydia's connection to the ocean was profound. Raised in a small coastal town near Adelaide, the sea had always mesmerized her. The ocean was her escape, her sanctuary, where the rhythm of the waves matched the beat of her heart. As a child, she'd listened to her grandfather's tales of the sea, stories of beauty and danger, of creatures both majestic and fearsome. Those tales now resonated more than ever as she prepared for the race. Training in open water was different from a pool's still waters. Lydia knew that. She understood the ocean's temperament and respected its power. But the Neptune Islands held a reputation that both thrilled and intimidated her. Known for their population of great white sharks, these waters were as beautiful as they were daunting. One crisp morning, under the watchful eye of the rising sun, Lydia set out in her boat with her trainer, Marcus Flint. Marcus, a former professional swimmer, had been Lydia's mentor for years. His confidence in her abilities was unwavering, but that day, he felt a twinge of apprehension as he reminded her to respect the ocean and always be aware of her surroundings. His voice a blend of concern and encouragement. They reached a secluded spot, far from the usual tourist trails. The water was crystal clear, reflecting the azure sky. Lydia looked over the boat's edge in her sleek swimming suit with goggles firmly in place. She could see the shadowy outlines of fish darting below. Taking a deep breath, she dove in. The cool water enveloped her, a familiar embrace. She began her rhythm, each stroke a testament to her determination. Marcus watched from the boat, scanning the waters, always alert. Lydia felt free, her body moving with grace and strength. She loved this feeling, the sense of being one with the sea. About 30 minutes into her swim, Lydia's heart raced. Not from exertion, but from a chilling sensation that she wasn't alone. She paused, treading water, and looked around. The tranquility of the morning was deceptive. A dark shape about 20 feet away caught her eye. Her heart skipped a beat as she recognized the distinct outline of a great white shark, its dorsal fin cutting through the water like a blade. Panic surged through Lydia's veins. She knew better than to thrash about, to show fear, but every instinct screamed at her to flee. The shark circled, a curious yet terrifying presence. Lydia remembered her grandfather's advice. In the ocean, you must be as smart as you are brave. She began to swim back towards the boat, steady and deliberate, trying not to provoke the predator. Marcus had seen the shark and was frantically starting the engine, his voice calling out to her. The distance seemed to stretch endlessly, each stroke an eternity. As Lydia neared the boat, the shark accelerated, its primal instincts triggered. Her heart pounded in her chest, her breaths short and rapid. The shark was close now, too close. Lydia could see its massive form beneath the water, a dark shadow of impending danger. She reached for the boat, fingers grazing the edge when the shark made its move. In that heart-stopping moment, as the great white shark lunged towards her with its daunting jaws wide open, Lydia's mind raced with a whirlwind of fear and determination. Time seemed to slow down, each second stretching into eternity. Her training, love for the ocean, and will to survive all came crashing together in a surge of adrenaline. With an agility born of panic and instinct, Lydia dove under the shark, narrowly avoiding its gaping mouth. She remembered an old trick her grandfather had mentioned, sharks being less able to maneuver quickly in deeper waters. Her lungs screamed for air, but she dove deeper, pushing her body to its limits. Above her, the shark turned, its massive body a terrifying spectacle in the clear water. Lydia could see Marcus shouting and throwing something into the water on the boat, a distraction. It was a risky move, but it gave her a precious few seconds. She swam with all her might, her muscles burning, her mind focused on reaching the boat. The shark, drawn away by the commotion, gave Lydia the chance she needed. She surfaced, gasping for air, just a few feet from the boat. Marcus reached out, his hands grasping hers in a firm grip. With a strength she didn't know she had, Lydia propelled herself out of the water and into the boat, collapsing onto the deck. Her heart pounded against her ribcage like a drum, her breaths coming in ragged gasps. Marcus was immediately at her side, his face a mask of concern and relief. He kept reassuring her that she was okay, even though Lydia could barely hear him over her heartbeat. The shark, its curiosity seemingly satisfied, had disappeared into the depths. The danger was over, but the echo of it lingered in Lydia's trembling limbs. She lay there looking up at the sky, the color of the ocean reflected in its vast expanse. She had faced her worst fear, had stared into the eyes of one of nature's most formidable predators, and had survived. The journey back to shore was a blur. Lydia sat silently, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the water. She thought about the shark, about the power and grace of such a creature. She realized that her respect for the ocean had deepened, tinged now with a profound understanding of its dangers. When they finally reached the dock, Lydia's story quickly spread among the locals. Her encounter with the great white shark became the talk of the town, a tale of bravery and survival against incredible odds. But for Lydia, it was more than that. It was a life-changing experience, a reminder of how fragile yet strong she could be. Lydia's story reached beyond the small coastal town in the following weeks. It was shared in newspapers, social media, and local television. People were amazed by her courage and her ability to face such danger and come out alive. Lydia, however, found herself drawn back to the ocean, where she had faced her deepest fear. She continued to swim, to embrace the water that was an integral part of her being. The shark attack had not deterred her. Instead, it had forged a new connection with the sea rooted in respect and a deep understanding of the delicate balance between humans and nature. The open water race came and went. Lydia participated not to win, but to prove she could face her fears head-on. She didn't come in first, but crossing the finish line was a victory. Her encounter with the shark became a pivotal moment, a story she would tell for years. But more importantly, it was a testament to her resilience, respect for nature, and unyielding spirit. In the vast, unpredictable ocean, Lydia Bennett had found her strength, purpose, and place in the world. The shimmering waters of Playa del Carmen, Mexico, were a diver's paradise, known for their clear visibility and abundant marine life. It was here in the summer of 2023 that 17-year-old Diego Martinez embarked on an adventure that would test his courage and resilience in ways he never imagined. Diego, a local teenager passionate about the sea, grew up on the tales of sunken treasures and mysterious shipwrecks told by his retired fisherman grandfather. These stories had fueled Diego's fascination with diving, and he had spent years honing his skills, exploring the underwater world that lay just off the coast of his hometown. On this particular day, the sun was high, casting a golden glow over the sea. Diego and his dive buddy, Luis, a seasoned instructor, planned to explore an old shipwreck, a site known to few and shrouded in mystery. The ship, a cargo vessel from the late 20th century, had sunk under mysterious circumstances and now lay at the bottom of the ocean, a relic of the past. As they prepared their gear, Diego felt a surge of excitement. He had dived many times before, but the allure of a shipwreck was something else entirely. It was like stepping into history, touching a story lost to the sea. Luis noticed Diego's enthusiasm and cautioned him to stay close and keep an eye on his surroundings, reminding him that shipwrecks can be unpredictable. The dive began smoothly. Diego and Luis descended into the crystal-clear waters, their bubbles trailing behind them like a string of pearls. The shipwreck appeared, a haunting silhouette against the sandy ocean floor. Fish of all colors darted around the structure, and for a moment Diego was lost in the beauty of it all. They explored the wreck, weaving through the skeletal remains of the ship. Diego's eyes were wide with wonder as he imagined the stories hidden within these rusted walls. He could almost hear the echoes of the past, the hustle and bustle of the ship's crew, now replaced by the murmur of the sea. As they moved around to the darker side of the wreck, a sudden movement in the peripheral of Diego's vision caught his attention. He turned, expecting to see a curious fish or sea turtle. Instead, he stared into a bull shark's cold, unblinking eyes. The shark, easily over 8 feet long, glided through the water with an effortless grace that belied its power. Diego's heart pounded in his chest, a rapid drumbeat in the silent underwater world. He remembered Luis's words about staying calm, but the presence of the shark, so close and so real, sent a wave of panic through him. He signaled to Luis, who had already seen the shark. They knew they needed to ascend, but it had to be done slowly to avoid decompression sickness. The shark, perhaps curious or territorial, began to circle them, its sleek body quickly cutting through the water. Diego's mind raced. He knew bull sharks were unpredictable. Every second under the water with this apex predator felt like an eternity. He focused on his breathing, trying to keep it steady, his eyes never leaving the shark. As they began their slow ascent, the shark suddenly darted towards Diego, its powerful body moving with a frightening speed. Diego's training kicked in as the bull shark charged towards him in that split second. He knew better than to panic or make sudden movements, which could further provoke the shark. Instead, he tried to make himself appear larger and less like prey, spreading his arms and keeping his eyes fixed on the shark. The shark's attack was swift and terrifying. It snapped its jaws near Diego's leg, its teeth grazing the neoprene of his wetsuit. Pain seared through Diego's calf as the shark's teeth cut into his skin, but miraculously the bite was shallow. The shark, perhaps dissuaded by the taste of neoprene or Diego's defensive posture, veered away, disappearing into the blue depths. Adrenaline surged through Diego's body, dulling the pain in his leg. He knew he was lucky. The injury could have been much worse. Luis quickly assessed the situation, signaling for an immediate ascent. Every movement was agony for Diego, but he focused on the surface, willing himself to stay conscious. As they ascended, Luis kept a vigilant watch for the shark, but it seemed their encounter was over. When they finally broke the surface, the relief was overwhelming. Luis immediately called for help on the dive boat's radio, while administering first aid to Diego's leg. The boat arrived quickly, the crew's faces etched with concern as they helped Diego aboard. The wound on his leg was bleeding, but it was not life-threatening. As the boat sped back to shore, Diego lay there, the reality of what had happened sinking in. He had come face to face with one of nature's most formidable predators and had survived. Back on shore, Diego was rushed to the hospital. The wound required stitches, but he was in stable condition. However, the incident was more than a brush with danger. It was a life-altering experience for Diego. As he recovered, he spent long hours reflecting on the encounter. For all its beauty, he realized that the ocean was also a wild and unpredictable place. His respect for marine life deepened, and he became more determined to advocate for ocean conservation and shark awareness. The experience also strengthened Diego's resolve to continue diving. He understood the risks, but the ocean was a part of his identity. He couldn't imagine his life away from it. His story became a source of inspiration for others, a tale of survival and respect for the natural world. Months later, Diego returned to the water. His first dive after the incident was filled with mixed emotions, fear, excitement, and profound gratitude. As he descended beneath the waves, he felt a sense of peace. The ocean welcomed him back, its vastness a reminder of how small and yet significant each life is in the grand tapestry of nature. Diego continued to explore the underwater world, his passion undimmed by the encounter. He advocated for shark conservation, using his story to educate others about the importance of these misunderstood creatures in the marine ecosystem. His experience with the bull shark was not just a story of survival. It was a journey of understanding and respect, a reminder that we are all connected in the delicate balance of life on Earth. In the world-famous surfing destination of Jeffreys Bay, South Africa, the waves are a surfer's dream. Here, beneath the golden African sun, 22-year-old Mia Thompson, an aspiring professional surfer, chased the wave of a lifetime. Mia, with her sun-bleached hair and a spirit as free as the ocean, had come to Jeffreys Bay to compete in a regional surfing competition, Surfing was more than a sport to her. It was a calling. She had grown up on the coast of Durban, riding waves before she could even properly swim. The ocean was her home, her escape, her challenge. On the day of the competition, the beach was buzzing with excitement. Surfers from all over the country had gathered, their boards under their arms, eyes fixed on the rolling waves. Mia felt a familiar thrill as she looked at the sea, its surface shimmering under the morning sun. Her heat was up, and she paddled out, her heart pounding with anticipation. The ocean greeted her like an old friend, its waves nodding in welcome. She felt a sense of peace as she waited for the right wave. Then she saw a perfect swell rising in the distance and coming her way. Mia paddled hard, positioning herself. The wave grew, towering over her, a moving mountain of water. She popped up on her board, finding her balance in a fluid motion. The wave caught her, and she was riding it. The world reduced to the rush of water and the wind in her hair. She carved along the face of the wave, every turn a dance with nature. It was exhilarating, the kind of ride that surfers dream of. A dark shadow in the water caught her eye as she neared the end of the wave, ready to pull out. Her heart skipped a beat. Sharks were not uncommon in these waters, but one never expects to encounter them up close. The shadow moved swiftly, its form unmistakable. A shark, and not a small one. Adrenaline surged through Mia. Her initial instinct was to panic, but her years of experience in the ocean kicked in. She knew that staying calm was crucial. The shark, possibly a great white, was just a few meters away, its dorsal fin slicing through the water. Mia's mind raced. She had to get back to shore, but she couldn't just jump off her board and swim. That would make her more vulnerable. Her best chance was to stay on her board and paddle back as smoothly and quickly as possible. She turned her board towards the beach, paddling with steady strokes. Her eyes were fixed on the shore, but she was acutely aware of the shark's presence. It seemed to be following her, a silent, ominous escort. The distance to the beach felt like miles. A mix of fear and determination fueled every stroke. Mia's arms ached, but she didn't dare stop. The shark remained a constant shadow, its intentions unclear. The shark veered away as she approached the shallows, disappearing into the depths. Mia didn't stop until her board hit the sand. She stumbled onto the beach, her legs weak, her lungs burning for air. Unaware of her silent battle, the crowd cheered at her spectacular ride. Mia stood on the sand, her surfboard under her arm, trying to steady her shaking hands. The cheers from the crowd faded into a distant hum as she processed what had just happened. The encounter with the shark had been a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictability, a force that demanded respect and caution. Her friends and fellow competitors rushed towards her, their faces alight with excitement, oblivious to the danger she had just faced. The event organizers soon announced the winners. Mia had scored high with her wave, but today, her brush with danger overshadowed the thrill of victory. As the crowd dispersed and the beach began to empty, Mia sat down, her eyes tracing the horizon. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Mia thought about the shark, about how it had followed her yet hadn't attacked. It was a curious thing, the way nature worked. She felt a newfound appreciation for the delicate balance of life beneath the waves, a balance she was part of every time she entered the water. The incident hadn't dampened her love for surfing, but changed her perspective. She realized that every time she paddled out, she was a visitor in the marine world, a beautiful world yet could be unforgiving. It was a reminder to never take the ocean for granted. Over the next few days, Mia spent time reflecting on her experience. She visited the local marine conservation center to learn more about sharks and their behavior. The knowledge she gained was enlightening. She learned about the importance of sharks in the ocean ecosystem and how humans are more threatened by them than we were by them. Determined to turn her experience into something positive, Mia began to advocate for shark conservation in her community. She spoke at local schools and the surf club, sharing her story and the importance of respecting ocean life. She emphasized coexistence and the need to protect marine habitats. Mia's experience also led her to take additional safety measures while surfing. She invested in a shark deterrent device to keep sharks at bay without harming them. It gave her an added sense of security, though she knew the ocean would always carry its risks. As the weeks passed, Mia returned to the water, her love for surfing as strong as ever. She felt a connection with the ocean that went beyond the sport. It was a relationship built on respect, understanding, and a deep appreciation for the natural world. Mia's encounter with the shark became a defining moment in her life, not because of the danger she faced, but because of how it transformed her view of the ocean. It was a reminder that in the vast, ever-changing seas, humans were just a tiny part of a much larger story. She continued to surf, to chase the waves, but now with a deeper awareness of the world beneath her board, a world as mysterious as it was magnificent. David Miller's vacation to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia was supposed to be a serene escape from his hectic life as a marketing consultant in Sydney. The allure of the reef, with its vibrant marine life and crystal-clear waters, had beckoned him for years. Finally succumbing to his longing, David booked a week-long stay at a remote resort on one of the many picturesque islands dotting the reef. On his first morning at the resort, David woke up before dawn. The excitement of being in such a pristine environment, far from the noise and bustle of the city, had filled him with an uncharacteristic energy. He started his day with a swim to connect with the natural beauty surrounding him. The sun was just beginning to rise, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange as David made his way to the beach. The air was fresh and cool, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves of the palm trees. The beach was deserted at this early hour. The only sounds were the gentle lapping of the waves and the distant calls of seabirds. David stood at the water's edge, taking in the serene beauty of the dawn. He felt a sense of peace wash over him, starkly contrasting his usually hectic life. With a deep breath, he waded into the water, the coolness of the ocean a pleasant shock to his system. As he swam, David marveled at the clarity of the water. He could see the sandy bottom, small fish darting around his legs, a world of life beneath the surface. He swam further out, relishing the feeling of freedom, the weightlessness of being enveloped by the ocean. After about 20 minutes of swimming, David decided to head back to shore. He had a full day ahead, with plans to go snorkeling on the reef and try his hand at diving. Turning back, he noticed a school of fish in the distance, their silver bodies glinting in the morning light. They seemed agitated, hurrying in a way that seemed unusual. Curious, David paused to watch them treading water. Then he felt a sudden shift in the water, a sense of something moving swiftly beneath him. His heart rate quickened, a mix of excitement and a hint of apprehension. He knew the reef was home to many creatures, but he hadn't expected to encounter anything significant on his early morning swim. The movement in the water grew closer, and David could now see a dark shape approaching. At first he thought it might be a dolphin, a common sight in these waters. But as it neared, he realized this was no dolphin. It was much larger, its movements more deliberate. A chill ran down his spine as the shape became clearer. A shark's sleek body easily cut through the water. Panic surged through David. He knew he needed to remain calm, that frantic movements could attract the shark's attention. But being alone, far from shore, with a shark approaching, was a situation he was wholly unprepared for. The shark circled him, its large dark eyes seeming to assess him. David tried to recall everything he had ever read or heard about shark encounters. He kept his movements slow, making himself appear less like prey. He knew he had to return to shore, but the distance seemed insurmountable. As he started to swim back, keeping his movements deliberate and even, the shark continued to circle. David's mind raced with thoughts of his family, his friends, and the life he had yet to live. He wondered if anyone had noticed he was missing, and if anyone would come looking for him. The sun had fully risen, its light sparkling on the water, starkly contrasting the fear and uncertainty that gripped David. He swam with desperation and caution, every stroke a silent prayer for safety. As David neared the halfway point to the shore, the shark abruptly changed its behavior. With a sudden burst of speed, it darted towards him. David's heart leaped into his throat. In a split second, he made a decision. He stopped swimming and held his ground, or rather his water. He had read somewhere that sharks might lose interest if their prey doesn't act like one. The shark circled him once more and then swam away into the depths with a powerful flick of its tail. The relief David felt was short-lived. As he resumed swimming, the shark returned, approaching him from below. David felt a sharp pain in his leg as the shark's teeth grazed him. A warning bite, not a predatory one. The shark was curious, not necessarily intent on attacking, but even a curious shark was dangerously unpredictable. Bleeding and in pain, David pushed through the shock. He knew he had to keep moving despite the throbbing in his leg. The shore was closer now, but each stroke felt agonizingly slow. He focused on the rhythm of his breathing, trying to keep calm in the face of fear and pain. Finally, David reached the shallow waters. He stumbled out of the ocean, dragging himself onto the sand, away from the water's edge. He collapsed, breathing heavily, looking at his injured leg. The bite was deep, but had missed any major arteries. He was lucky. He looked back at the ocean, the sun now fully up, its rays glittering on the surface like countless diamonds. It was hard to reconcile the scene's beauty with the terror he had just experienced. A jogger out for a morning run spotted David and immediately came to his aid, calling for emergency services. As David waited, he couldn't help but think about the shark. It was a creature of its environment, acting on instinct. He didn't feel anger or hatred towards it. Instead, there was an odd sense of respect. He had intruded into its world, and it had asserted its presence. The paramedics arrived swiftly and tended to David's wounds. The bite required stitches, and he was given a tetanus shot and antibiotics to prevent infection. His physical injuries would heal, but David knew that the psychological impact of the encounter would stay with him. At the resort, David spent time recovering and reflecting on his experience. He had always respected the ocean, but now his respect was coupled with a deeper understanding of its wild nature. The shark encounter was a stark reminder of how unpredictable and powerful the natural world could be. The following days, David sat on the beach watching the waves. He didn't venture back into the water, not yet. He needed time to process what had happened. But he knew that this experience wouldn't deter him from swimming or diving in the future. It was a part of who he was, a connection to nature he couldn't deny. David felt mixed emotions as he prepared to leave the Great Barrier Reef. What had started as a tranquil vacation had turned into a life-changing ordeal. He was going home with a scar that would forever remind him of the encounter. But more importantly, he was going home with a renewed sense of awe for the ocean and its inhabitants, a reminder of how precious and precarious life could be. David's experience at the Great Barrier Reef was a testament to nature's unpredictability and the human spirit's resilience. It was an encounter that he would never forget, a story of survival, respect, and the enduring power of the natural world. In the small fishing town of Gansbaai, South Africa, renowned for its dense population of sharks, Dr. Hannah Clark, a dedicated marine biologist, embarked on a pivotal project. Her mission was to tag sharks for a study analyzing their migratory patterns and behavior. Little did she know that this expedition would test her courage and expertise in ways she never imagined. Hannah had always been captivated by the ocean's mysteries, dedicating her life to marine conservation. Her work had taken her to various parts of the world, but Gansbaai held a special place in her heart with its rugged coastlines and rich marine biodiversity. Here, she first witnessed the majestic great white shark, which terrified and fascinated her. The project's objective was clear: tag as many sharks as possible to gather vital data. Equipped with specialized tagging equipment, Hannah and her team set out on their research vessel early one morning. The sea was calm, the sky a clear blue, conditions perfect for their endeavor. Hannah's team included her trusted colleague, Alex, an experienced diver and researcher, and a small crew well-versed in the waters around Gansbaai. The team prepared for the day's work as they reached their destination, a well-known shark hotspot. Hannah donned her diving suit, her heart pounding with excitement and anxiety. The process of tagging sharks was delicate and required precision. Hannah and Alex would dive into the water, locate a shark, and then carefully attach a tracking device to its dorsal fin. The device was designed to be minimally invasive, ensuring the shark's safety and well-being. As Hannah descended into the deep blue, she felt a sense of awe. The underwater world was a different realm, silent and vast. She could see the shadows of sharks in the distance, their sleek forms cutting through the water with grace and power. The first few tagging attempts went smoothly. The sharks, curious but cautious, allowed Hannah and Alex to approach them. Hannah's respect for these magnificent creatures grew with each encounter. She was struck by their beauty, strength, and vital role in the ocean's ecosystem. As the day progressed, Hannah prepared for another dive. This time they spotted a large great white shark, its massive form gliding effortlessly through the water. Hannah's heart raced. Tagging a shark of this size required skill and a deep understanding of shark behavior. She and Alex approached the shark, moving slowly to avoid startling it. The shark seemed aware of their presence but remained calm. Hannah positioned herself carefully, preparing to attach the tag. She admired the shark's immense power, aware that she was in the presence of one of nature's most formidable predators. Just as she was about to secure the tag, the shark suddenly veered, its movements erratic. Hannah realized something was wrong. The shark's behavior had shifted unexpectedly, and it was now showing signs of aggression. She signaled to Alex, warning him of the change. The shark circled back, its eyes fixed on Hannah. She knew she had to remain calm, but the situation rapidly became dangerous. Her training had prepared her for such encounters, but facing a great white shark in its element was an actual test of her resolve. Hannah and Alex slowly started to retreat to their boat's safety, but the shark was relentless. It moved closer, its powerful body a daunting sight. Hannah's mind raced as she searched for a way to defuse the situation without harming the shark, or putting herself and Alex in further danger. The shark's movements became more aggressive, its tail whipping through the water, creating powerful currents that made it difficult for Hannah and Alex to maintain their positions. Hannah's heart pounded in her chest, her mind racing for solutions. She remembered a technique she had read about, using a shark stick to gently redirect a shark's path without harming it. Carefully, she reached for the shark stick attached to her belt. The shark, sensing her movement, darted towards her. With precise timing, Hannah steadied her nerves and gently pushed the stick towards the shark's snout, redirecting it away from her. The shark, startled by the unexpected barrier, veered off course. Taking advantage of the moment, Hannah signaled to Alex to ascend. They needed to get out of the water as quickly as possible. The shark, however, was not deterred easily. It circled back, its movements more calculated. Hannah knew they were running out of time. The shark followed its massive form as they ascended, a shadow beneath them. Hannah kept the shark stick ready to maintain a safe distance whenever the shark got too close. Her heart raced, and her lungs burned with the effort of maintaining a steady pace while keeping an eye on the shark. Nearing the surface, Hannah could see the bottom of their boat. The crew had noticed the commotion and were on high alert, ready to assist. As they broke the surface, the crew immediately reached out, pulling Hannah and Alex to safety. Once on board, Hannah collapsed, her body shaking from the adrenaline and exertion. The crew tended to her, ensuring she was not injured. The shark, having lost interest, disappeared into the ocean's depths. The incident left Hannah and her team in a state of reflection at the research facility. The encounter was a stark reminder of the unpredictability of nature, especially when dealing with wild animals in their habitat. Hannah knew the risks involved in her work, but this experience had brought those risks into sharp focus. Despite the scare, Hannah's determination to continue her research did not waver. The incident had strengthened her resolve. It was a reminder of the importance of respecting the creatures of the sea and the need to continue learning about them to ensure their conservation. In the following days, Hannah analyzed the data from the tags they had successfully placed. Each tag represented a small victory, a piece of the puzzle in understanding the complex lives of these magnificent creatures. Hannah's experience also led to the implementing of new safety protocols for her team. They introduced additional training sessions focusing on handling unexpected encounters with sharks. Hannah's encounter with the aggressive shark became a case study, a learning experience for her and her peers in marine biology. Hannah's respect for the ocean and its inhabitants deepened as she continued her work. She was more aware than ever of the delicate balance between human activity and the marine ecosystem. Her encounter with the great white shark was a powerful reminder of the beauty and danger that coexist in the ocean, a testament to the need for continued research and conservation efforts. Hannah's story spread among her colleagues and in the marine biology community, not as a tale of fear, but as a story of resilience and respect for the natural world. She became an advocate for shark conservation, using her experience to educate others about the importance of understanding and protecting these misunderstood creatures. Months later, Hannah returned to the waters of Gansbai, her passion for her work undiminished. With all its mysteries and dangers, the ocean continued to fascinate her. Each dive was a journey into the unknown, a chance to learn and contribute to understanding the marine world. Hannah's encounter with the great white shark remained a pivotal moment in her career, a reminder of the challenges and rewards of working with nature. It was an experience that shaped her path as a marine biologist, reinforcing her commitment to studying and preserving the ocean's magnificent creatures.